My name's Des Mannay. I'm from Newport in South Wales, and I'd like to start this set off by asking the ultimate existential question. Did you spill my fucking pint? Things are all right when you're in the fight. No time to think, can't even blink. Stick in the boot, chairs to uproot, tables to follow, no time to wallow in self-pity because life is shitty. Throw some more punches, fighting by hunches. It's like painting by numbers, except for the numbness. There's blood on your clothes, where from, fuck knows. The blood's not from you, it's the other man's due. As it seeps through his skin, ain't you glad it's from him? There's no point in holding back, just continue to attack till the man spattered in red has finally fled. It's the angry man's food and the thinking man's brood. Yes, it's food for thought, the lesson you're taught, that in the end, nothing really has changed. Just a few faces have been rearranged. So the next poem is about the joys of public transport at night. It's called On the Buses. A single ticket to Newport, that's all I bloody need. A single ticket to Newport, with small change I plead. A single ticket to Newport, I've got kids to feed. A single ticket to Newport, get flirty and I'll breed. A single ticket to Newport, hair that does recede. A single ticket to Newport, aggression fueled by speed. A single ticket to Newport, cut me and I'll bleed. A single ticket to Newport, anxiety is freed. A single ticket to Newport, I'll follow any lead. A single ticket to Newport, come on fucking driver. A single ticket to Newport, what? No change from a fiver. A single ticket to Newport, for your breath mixed with saliva. A single ticket to Newport, I ain't no duck and diver. A single ticket to Newport, look mate, I'm a survivor. The next poem goes out to anyone that's ever had their benefits cut. It's called Missing Payment. There is no money, no amount has gone into my bank account, so I dial the number, get in the queue for about an hour or two, and you just say, bear with me, bear with me, bear with me, there's a fucking bear with me. There's an elephant in the room, by a big black dog I'm being consumed. No amount of breathing in a paper bag can stop a full-on panic attack, and you just say, bear with me. I get wound up, you start to flounder. Do you believe all the myths about benefit scroungers? Look, if you don't restore my payments, I will end up on the pavement, and you just say, bear with me, bear with me, bear with me, there's a fucking bear with me. There's an elephant in the room, by a big black dog I'm being consumed. No amount of breathing in a paper bag can stop a full-on panic attack, and you just say, bear with me. I bet you got a landlord too who expects to be paid on time by you. We're all being shafted, tell the truth. All we need's a bloody roof, so don't just say, bear with me. The next poem is a poem of unrequited love, or unfrequented love if you're really unlucky, and it goes something like this. Sometimes I look at you and think, just dreaming really. Then I listen and I start to sink. When you pour out your troubles, I want to drink your heart, but that's kept locked away for special occasions and special people with the crockery and the silverware. Not for me. I'm the invisible man in your estimation, but I'm real and I'm here and I care. When things go right, you run straight past me to greet a lover, but when things go wrong, and there is no other, you can find me tired and alone, the remote console. This one is one that's going to be a series of poems about race and racism and why Black Lives Matter. This one is about the incredible habit that US police officers have for shooting black people. It's called Shots. Daddy's been shot sitting in a car by one of America's finest. He's a rising star. Get out the car, walk backwards. That's what the cops all shout. Daddy doesn't process this in time to get out. The cop busts a nut in a sexual high. It's the same emotion that sends a man to die. Daddy sits there bleeding, dying in a car. Next to him a child now has a mental scar. When you shoot the father, you kill the child too. When he becomes an adult, he might shoot you. The next poem is going to be one from a series of poems I will also be reading tonight from my first collection, which is called Sodom and Tomorrow, and is available on all good Waterloo Press.co.uk websites and the occasional bookshop. The first one I'm going to do is one which means quite a lot to me. It's when you come from a multicultural background like myself, you grab your heroes where you can, and one of my great heroes was Muhammad Ali. And so when he died, it sort of gave me a moment to pause and reflect on my life and what his life meant to me as well, in terms of growing up as a child in the 70s. So this is on the death of Muhammad Ali. Goodbye, butterfly. You stung like a bee. You stung me. From you, I learnt resistance to all the nigger, pull the trigger, playground taunts. I could reply, come on, bugner. The kids at school never listened to Blue Mink. They didn't know that what we needed was a great big melting pot. My parents did. They had me. The Ugandan Asian crisis hit and I became called a Paki overnight, because Enoch was right and I should go back to where I came from, even though I was there already. And to some Asians, I was a Gori. And the white girls didn't stay too long because they didn't want to be called dog meat by their peers. Shove thy neighbour. So tell me, what the hell is the colour of love? And the Rastas wore Wales football tops. They were red, gold and green, but to them I was also a threat. Babylon. I could not go back to Africa, a place I'd never been, and my heroes all spoke perfect English. Sidney Poitier, CLR James. The old ladies in Cardiff's docks told me about Africans. When they came, how tall they were, how smart they were in top hats, spats and canes. And my granddad was a crewman. That's a tribe in Africa. And then he joined a crew. He sailed the 7 seas and settled in the Bay of Tigers, raised a family. And my father was a half-caste. That's what they said back then. And he would sing calypso as he did the washing up. Why don't you give me back the shilling with the lion on it, lion on it, lion on it? But said Jamaicans were Johnny-come-latelys. As I got older, boundaries blurred, bigotry rescinded like the tide. I became exotic. Amerindian, Latin American, because of straight black hair and melanin darkened skin. Myth-making identity yet again. And I don't know where I come from, but you don't know where I'm going, yeah. But I worry the tide is coming in again, and sometimes I really do feel like throwing my hands up in the air. So goodbye, butterfly. You have spread your wings, and I have been stung. The next one is a poem called They Call Me, and it's about all the names that people can be called. They call me Atticus because I live in an attic. They call me Platypus because I duck my bills. They call me often until they've had their fill. They call me sick note because I'm often ill. They call me a cab that never pay the meter. They call me Mr. Loverman, but hope I never meet her. They call me an alien, though I'm not from outer space. They call me Johnny Foreigner, although I'm from this place. They call me Wildcat if I go on strike. They sound like Norman Tebbit when they say, on your bike. They call me Ivan when I've an awful cough. They call me a dosser when I'm sleeping rough. But all the things they call me can't catch me when I fall. I'd prefer they didn't call me anything at all. The next poem is not in my collection, but it was published in a lovely little journal called the Abache Journal, and it's called More Than Just a Northern Soul. It may or may not be about a particular form of music. I'll leave you to try and work that one out. Once upon a floor, I used to dance, would dance all night until saturated, soaking wet, swimming in a sea of dance where everything else lost significance. I loved being me, but then I had to live in someone else's shadow until it became mine. In darkness, shadows escape, diminished again towards the end. Flip the switch, just one more twitch. I get a little lonely in the middle of the night. I need you, darling, to make things alright. So shine on your love light, let it shine on me. Shine on your love light, let it shine on me. The next poem I shall find in a second is from my collection again. So this one, we're moving on to just a couple of poems about mental health. This one is called Recovery. Listen, therapist, we need to talk. There are things you don't see with your brief therapy and half a dozen sessions before you set me free, with your emphasis on illness and diagnosis, hoarding symptoms like stamp collectors after an elusive penny black. You medicalize social problems as our fault, but we cannot be wished away. Are we ill because we're depressed, or is it because we're oppressed? And is the key to this oppression being robbed of self-expression? And there's a riot in my head, but just like Martin Luther King said, riots are conversations of the voiceless. And we lost our voice because you usurped our language. Let's take the term recovery. For health professionals like you, it becomes an excuse to cease treatment, eliminate resources, deny us the luxury of difference. In your hands, the lang has no parole. But we invented the term recovery as a way to understand our difficulties. It is how we hold on to the past and recover identity. It stops us being written off. And just as Lord Byron said, deformity is daring. And we strive to make good, catch up, and maybe overtake those who have not felt the pain of emotional overload. And as we recalibrate our pain, we echo Kurt Cobain when he wrote, "Thank you for the tragedy, I need it for my art." The next poem is a more cheerful poem about recovering from mental health issues. It's called Pause for Thought. When you ask, what's wrong? I can bat you away with the phrase black dog stuff. Then I don't have to explain nausea, morning sickness of the mind, or my perfectionist heart shredding thoughts, actions, utterances, a form of deliberate self-harm. Eventually, my Freudian slip mind bites back. You are no longer scary, all-powerful. I am no longer in your grasp. You are now a child's toy, just a stuffed black dog. I can put you back in the box. The next poem is about misogyny. I think it's important that men talk about misogyny, and in the same way that I think it's important that white people take the knee and solidarize with the Black Lives Matter movement. This one is called Battered Cod, and it's partially based on one of my sisters had a really awful relationships, and she used to be called, whenever they went wrong, she was always told she wasn't a good chooser. Not a good chooser, complete loser, parental preference, marital reference, beaten again, misogyny men, broken hearts plus other parts, banging her head, feeling dread, against a wall, voiceless call, serial victim, shouldn't have picked him, desperation for conversation or intimacy. What don't you see? Some are from Snatch.com, others from clubs, bored men in pubs, cheap nights out, punch lights out. Her name was Pride before she died. I believe I have time for about one more poem. And I would like to end on something that is a bit Martin Luther King-ish, he had a dream. This is a poem about sleep. I should go to bed before it gets light, but there are things which bother me at night. One of them is hunger. We are short of food, nothing in the cupboard to feed a growing brood. Another is affection, like love's labours lost. Every spurn, tenderness, rejection has a cost. Then there is my skin, how it bloody thickens with each blow and insult. Deep inside, it sickens. There's a different hunger. We need to rearrange the world that we subsist in. I'm hungry for the change. Another affection wells inside of me against bigotry and hatred for humanity. Sickness is systemic, or so it seems to me. So I'll off away to bed. Our dreams can set us free. Thank you very much for having me.